purple party people at? Where they at? Get down. Welcome to episode 115 of Amari Purple Talk, a podcast where I share my thoughts on the Prince musical singularity. I'm Richard Cole, the Amari in Amari Communications, and every episode I break down everything in the world of Prince and all Prince-related music and artists, as well as genres of music that has had a major influence on his art. And if you enjoy the content of this episode, please download and listen, like, subscribe, hit notification bells, share the content, and that will make me very happy. So with that out of the way, let's get it started. And this week's topic, since we have the release of Prince and the Revolution Live CD. I just received my copy of it. Had a chance to listen to it, but that will be a review for the next episode. And also still have to watch the Blu-ray as well. But since we're kind of in this Purple Rain celebration, we also have Prince celebration. Wish I would have been able to attend, but I've been checking out a lot of social media posts from a lot of podcasters and Prince fans that are there as we speak. They look like they're having a good time. I'm jealous, wish I was there, but got some business to handle and hopefully get to a point where maybe I can make the next one. But I also kind of talk about that on the next episode as well. But this week, again, since we're talking about, or kind of in this Purple Rain celebration as far as releases go, I thought I would talk about a Purple Rain release that when it was released, didn't get a lot of love. And I'm talking about the Purple Rain Deluxe Edition. Although, the highlight was the vault tracks and some of the extended versions or B-sides, like 17 Days, Erotic City, finally all on one CD, the extended version. I think those were the standouts, and a lot of people enjoyed that aspect of it. But there was a lot of, maybe disappointment regarding the remaster of Purple Rain, which is known as the Paisley Park remaster, due to the fact that Prince supervised the remastering with Joshua Welton, who served as the remastering engineer on it. And given that, as far as we know, let's put it this way. This was his first official major professional debut as a remastering engineer. And, he kind of got a lot of flack for it. I'll say this, remastering or mastering period is not easy. And those that are somewhat familiar with mastering, the mastering technique, there was a lot of flack like, it should have gone to, let Bernie Grundman do it, who's, probably the king of mastering. A lot of albums for the last 40 some odd years, some of the best and greatest albums, not just Prince albums, were mastered by this gentleman and his, mastering company or facility, whatever you want to call it. Which rightfully so, man has had decades of experience in the field, has probably a great facility, great team of workers that are, maybe equal in, length of experience, but definitely more than Joshua Welton. But that being said, was the Purple Rain Paisley Park remastered? Was it really that bad? And that's what I want to talk about this week. When the Purple Rain Super Deluxe was released, of course, the major music publications reviewed it. I'm going to read two reviews, one from Pitchfork and the other from Rolling Stone. Although they reviewed the package as a whole, meaning that the bulk of the review dealt with the extended versions and single edits, B-sides, vault material, I'm just going to limit it to what was said about the Paisley Park remaster of the Purple Rain album itself. All right, so starting with Pitchfork, this article was written by Brad Nelson. This was published on June 26th of 2017. And it goes like this. In 1984, Purple Rain turned Prince into a global superstar, and the 3 CD remaster of the canonical record adds an entire disc of previously unreleased music cut during the same period. In so much of his music, Prince seemed fixated on contradictions. He used the album format to position seemingly alienated concepts against each other, spirituality and sexuality, of course, but also isolation and collaboration, minimalism and maximalism, life and afterlife. He longed to connect these ideas to isolate the points at which they melted into each other. The soundtrack for his 1984 movie Purple Rain represented the most precise implosion of his internal contradictions: sex, religious devotion, empathy, alienation. The album is a kind of geode, I guess I'm pronouncing that correctly, geode of identity, a product of remarkable individual pressurization. Purple Rain, Purple Rain Deluxe Expanded Edition, is the first reissue produced by the deal Prince signed with Warner Brothers in 2014 in order to regain ownership of his masters. This edition's approach to the original LP is to kind of unfold it from the edges by including unreleased songs and extended mixes that both expand and complicate the record's essential character. Purple Rain was Prince's commercial flashpoint, an album and feature-length metaphor for his arrival on a national stage. In the last 33 years, it has been written about breathlessly. And let's see. And goes on to mention a review or a series of reviews published after Prince's death. And it has been contemplated down to its skeletal details. The remastering job heard on this edition, apparently overseen by Prince, adds a clarity and fluorescence to an album whose elements already sounded carefully distributed. Prince's screams and Baby I'm a Star take shape in 3 dimensions, and the interlaced guitar lines in Darling Nikki sound if they're radiating their own humidity. The songs feel heavier and fuller, and conversely, the void surrounding the guitar chord that introduces the title track feels as if it's been expanded into an ever vaster loneliness. Okay, so remember, the key takeaway, one of the standouts in this article, is that the screams in Baby I'm a Star take shape in 3 dimensions, and the guitar lines in Darling Nikki sound as if they're radiating their own humidity. The songs feel heavier and fuller, and conversely, the void surrounding the guitar chord that introduces the title track feels as if it's been expanded into an even vaster loneliness. Okay, and that is the review from Pitchfork in 2017. Will Hermes, guess I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, or Hermes or Hermes, in Rolling Stone, dated June 27th of 2017, comments, a legendary control freak, Prince's business instincts were always idiosyncratic, from scrawling slave on his face and changing his name to an icon to protest his Warner Brothers contract, to his new power generation pop-up shop in Minneapolis. For the year or so it lasted on Lindale Avenue, I always remember finding it empty when it opened at all, save for its clerks. Side note, around 94, 93, 94, one of my visits to Minneapolis, yeah, I didn't see a crowd, and there were two clerks. I don't know if one of Prince's brothers was there that day, but there was a young lady behind the counter as well. And yeah, it was virtually empty. I mean, it had stock on the shelves. I can't remember what I got from there though. I don't know if I got a. God, I can't even remember what I bought there. But yeah, I mean, it was like, I was expecting to see a crowd of people, or have it crowded and stuff flying off the shelves. And maybe it did at one point, maybe I just went there on an off day or a slow day. It was the weekend of the Minneapolis Music Expo, or the Black Music Expo. So that might have had a lot to do with it as well. But yeah, I kind of, reading that, I kind of got where this writer was going with that. But back to Purple Rain. In some cases, time proved him persistent. Frank Ocean and others have refined the pop-up, while Prince's CD giveaways and streaming service holdouts are now standard marketing strategies. As for sitting on decades worth of vault recordings of still unknown quantity and quality, the jury is still out, and it's impossible to know if Prince would have ever greenlighted the release of the early to mid 80s outtakes included in both the 2-disc deluxe edition and 4-disc deluxe expanded edition of Purple Rain. There's a 4-disc deluxe expanded edition. Okay, who do I need to talk to find that? Anyway, so his edition of Purple Rain, his mega hit soundtrack LP to the film of the same name. Perhaps it's best to take them as a gift from an artist you will miss even more after hearing them. And yeah, purchasing this deluxe edition, it being sort of the first major posthumous release. Of course, there was Prince Forever, and that was kind of bittersweet. But this, a significant album that people have longed to wanted to hear remastered. The vault tracks included, although there was some debate as to whether or not they could have added more, maybe left some off because they didn't really have anything to do with Purple Rain, but yet and still, it was nice for the first time. Well, again, bittersweet because we got official, professionally mixed, mastered vault recordings that we've been looking forward to for decades. It's just that the unfortunate trade-off is that the man himself is no longer here. So that last sentence definitely resonates. It still resonates even today. But again, back to the Rolling Stone article. Billed as the Prince Supervised 2015 Paisley Park Remaster of Purple Rain, the reissue of the original album may or may not be the same mix posted in 2015 to Tidal. Comparing the latter stream with a new one provided by the label, it's hard to discern much difference. Nevertheless, it's a fabulously crisp mix of one of modern pop's greatest LPs. Details sparkle, the string flourishes on Take Me With You and Purple Rain, the finger snap on When Doves Cry just after Dude coos about you and I engaged in a kiss, the actual kiss around the 3-minute mark of Baby I'm a Star. Okay. After that, the Rolling Stone article again talks about the vault tracks and the disc of single edits and extended versions of the singles that were released. So those aren't relevant to today's topic. But again, here's two music publications that did have something positive to say. I didn't really find anything that had anything negative to say about it. But like I said, a lot of the criticism came virtually through social media. A lot of people were dissatisfied with the mix. People were screaming for, it should have been Bernie that did it, or somebody else that did it, or Susan Rogers should have supervised it or something. Which I get, I do get it. As I was hearing that chatter, not long after I got my copy of the CD, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it. My thoughts on it, there is a bit of heaviness that's missing. So a lot of the kind of the deep synths, like especially around with like the Beautiful Ones. That's pretty much the only standout for me. The Beautiful Ones. My memories of just listening to the original vinyl got all the way back in 1984. And, I literally wore that particular copy of the vinyl out. Ended up giving it away around, I can't remember now, 2013, 14. Just because I kind of just junked it. Gave it away to somebody that wanted to redecorate their music room with it and stuff. And, but I had put that on a dozen tapes, back in the day, like 84, as you were collecting the singles and the B-sides and the extended versions, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure a lot of people have done this. I know I've done it, where you got a 90-minute cassette and I put the whole album on cassette and then the B-sides, then the extended version of Let's Go Crazy, and the extended version of Erotic City. So even back then we were kind of creating our own sort of, call them playlists now, or extended versions, our own personal extended versions on cassette. So just even listening to the cassettes, which I think over time, like about 86, that was pretty much what I was listening to around maybe the later part of the 80s. After I got a CD player, I eventually got around to getting Purple Rain. And I don't know, to me, listening to the CD, I kind of fell flat. The original CD, I fell kind of flat. So for me, I would have preferred the original vinyl to the CD on that. So listening to the Paisley Park remaster, like I said, it's a radical difference between that and the original vinyl. Not to say it's bad. It's not. It really isn't. I really enjoyed what I was hearing on the Paisley Park remaster. But like I said, some of the little flourishes, like where my ears were used to hearing just how deep a lot of the, whether it's the Linn drum, the bass of the Linn drum, the low notes on the synthesizers that he was using. My ears, just, whatever memories you have from either hearing it for the first time and just, your love of that song just through the months and through the years, it's those things kind of stick with you. And they kind of become the fabric of, I don't know, your DNA or whatever you want to call it, or your spirit. It just sticks with you. And then when you kind of hear it in from a different perspective, meaning the Paisley Park remaster, it's like, okay, yeah, it's nice to hear and it sounds nice. But I just didn't get the same emotion. And I don't know if it's tied to memories of that year or, like I said, subsequent years and, just being a lot younger, being 18 and then going into 19, 20, 21, all that, I don't know if those things are tied to it. But again, like I said, it wasn't bad to listen to. It's not a bad CD overall. I would say really listening to it compared to the original vinyl, I prefer the original vinyl versions of the Beautiful Ones and Computer Blue. Now, the things I do like about it, I love Take Me With You. Because my memories of the original vinyl, as great as a song as that track is, it just felt, just a little flat to me. And I mean, not flat like the notes were flat or somebody was singing flat or playing in the wrong key and it sounds flat. But just, I guess, the overall mix of it. And, Prince himself is very critical of the mixes on his, especially like his earlier stuff. That I think that in this case with the Paisley Park remaster, I don't know, I kind of wrap up my final thoughts with it in a minute, but I will say briefly until we get to that part that this might have been Prince's attempt to pull a George Lucas. Like, I think at some point we were going to get, the Prince 80s catalog, the special editions, to where it's like, you know what? I never liked how that sounded in the mix in 1984, so I'm going to correct it now. So Joshua, lower that track, bring up the vocal on this track, I need more bass here, less bass there. I think that's pretty much what was kind of going on with this Paisley Park remaster. But that being said, with Take Me With You, if that was the intent, yeah, I love this track better now from listening to the Paisley Park remaster than the original album version, because honestly, it got to a point to where that's the song, one of the songs I would really skip on that. Something like Let's Go Crazy, kind of once the extended version, which is the version you hear in the movie, once that became a reality, once I got that on physical media, that was the version I always listened to. And yeah, if I did want to listen to the Purple Rain album, even now, it's just kind of like, yeah, this is the album version, and yep, sounds great. Okay, next song. Really, it's just me biding time till it got to the Beautiful Ones. And then things kind of pick up from there. But with the Paisley Park remaster, again, something I don't mind with Let's Go Crazy, but then there's the extended version, which is on disc 3. But, again, I just kind of live with it as a track because I'm just listening to the whole album at that point. But definitely Take Me With You is something I enjoy hearing more. And actually, I really started enjoying it more. Let's see. So I really enjoy it more than the version that's even on the Prince Forever. Because I remember when I got that CD, and then also I would stream a lot from the car back then, but didn't have the Bluetooth technology then. I would just plug, the older car that I had, I would plug the auxiliary jack with the phone and then just play from whatever, Apple Music or Tidal or whatever from then. And yeah, I mean, streaming the Forever version of Take Me With You was outstanding. So it started to grow on me more then, but definitely with the Paisley Park remaster, oh, I enjoy it a lot more now. Same thing with Darling Nikki. Now it's a track that I always enjoyed. Want to say the more that I watched the Purple Rain movie and watching Prince and Revolution perform that song in the film, I think it grew on me more. Like, I kind of dug because it's like, okay, yeah, this is, kind of what we're used to with Prince. It's one of those, it's written, produced, performed, and arranged by. And yeah, this song could have fit on 1999 and it could have fit on Dirty Mind. It could have gone on Controversy. Like, it could have gone anywhere. But, it's on Purple Rain. But I think, again, the more that I would see the performance in the Purple Rain film, then the more I listened to that particular song over the years, it just never gets old to me. I just enjoy it. And I love the nuances. I love the Lynn drums in it. I love where the guitars go, especially during the end. And I love the fade out, the whole backwards thing. And I think, the Paisley Park remaster of that track, it holds up well. I think it's great. And again, I end up enjoying it even more. When Doves Cry, to me, there's no distinct difference from the Paisley Park remaster to any other version, the original vinyl. I do have a 2015 vinyl of Purple Rain, like I said, to replace the worn out copy that I gave away. But yeah, there's no difference. It sounds just as vibrant. It sounds just as fresh. It always goes back to my memory of first hearing that track. I remember like being 18 and I had just graduated high school about that, right around that month, and had been out and about and got home like about 3 p.m. for something, and just like not long after getting in the house, just kind of sitting down, just turning on the radio, and just within 2 minutes or so of having the radio on, it's Magic 108 FM. And the DJ is like, and then this is the new song from Prince. It's When Doves Cry. And they played that time. And I didn't hear it again until I bought the album. But that first time, if memory serves me right, they played the album version. After that, it was always the 45 version. And I remember getting, when I bought the 45, and I think I still have it, it's the purple vinyl and 17 days. And even though it faded out, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to get the album now. But, I wore that out, flipped that over, and then there was 17 days. Like, man, that's a damn good track too. 17 days is the track. But back to When Doves Cry, like I said, my memories of hearing that on the radio for the first time, like I said, every time I hear it, it takes me back to that. Takes me back to that moment. Let's see. Again, no major difference with I Would Die For You. Maybe emphasis on Wendy's rhythm guitar kind of close to the end of the track. That's nice to hear from this Paisley Park remaster. It's kind of one of the standouts. So that's a track that I'll be checking back for. Subtle, like the one review about Baby I'm a Star. For me, my ears were picking up very subtle percussive elements that were brought out in Baby I'm a Star. The keyboards are brought out more. You can kind of tell the difference between what Fink is doing and what Lisa's doing on the keyboards. So it doesn't sound as run together. as my memories of the original vinyl. And I think that was just kind of my overall thing. It's like, yeah, Prince is a genius, and you know, the album was great. You know, it deserves its place in history. To me, I was really looking for more of a 1999 Part 2 or an improvement on 1999. But, you know, Purple Rain was designed to do what Purple Rain was designed to do. And yeah, you know, you kind of, like I said, I think Jimmy Jam always put it best. It's like it would take years to really appreciate a lot of the genius, you know, in any album. It doesn't matter what era it is. You know, even a lot of the later stuff, you just sit back and you go, oh, you know, it catches up with you at some point, you know, where you just take it for granted. Oh, it's Prince. Prince is great. But then when you really get a chance to listen, like, oh, this was great. You know, oh, I didn't notice. Yeah, okay. Wasn't feeling that song before, but what he did on the guitar or that little vocal harmonies there, you know, that's amazing. Yeah, so I think the Paisley Park remaster, it does expand the sound to where you can appreciate a lot more elements of it. Um, I know Prince was big also on the whole 40, you know, 432 hertz frequency. I don't have any confirmation that he actually ordered that to be um, part of the remastering process. I guess right around the time that he did get his masters back, I know he was speaking a lot about that. Um, you know, research that frequency for yourselves. You know, again, I don't think it's a bad frequency. Like I said, it expands the sound. You know, it does. I've mixed some things at 432 hertz before, and it's a, you know, it, like I said, it's a very peaceful frequency. It is. It sounds really good. Like I said, you know, it allows things to breathe more. And I know we're kind of in this, you know, a lot of generations from, you know, hip hop, you know, from the 80s on forward, where everything has to be always be boom, boom, boom. And let me tell you, it's cool. It has its place. I love the hell out of that, but not everything needs that. And, you know, since Prince was using the Lin and he really wasn't using the 808, you know, it wasn't necessary. You know, it's not necessary and it's not needed. And a lot of times too, like I said, if you're of a certain age or a certain generation, especially if you were coming up in the 90s and the 2000s and everything is bass heavy, it's cool. It has its place, but not everything needs it. And so when you get something that's that open like that, like I said, with the beautiful ones, I do love the heavier tones from the original vinyl. And when I listen to it, it's like, yeah, the beautiful ones is still a great song to listen to. And as I'm listening to it on the Paisley Park remaster, I can't help but feeling like, ah, oh, I miss that bass sound. But as I'm saying this now, maybe the next time I listen to the Paisley Park remastered version of the beautiful ones, maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows? Uh, Overall, the vocals, both lead and background, are out front more. And I enjoy that aspect of it. The title track itself, Purple Rain, it feels more like a live recording. Or to me, it feels more alive for the first time. Well, for the first time, I fully enjoyed the album version. Which is ironic because the album version is a live recording, you know. But Purple Rain is a song, like I said, I get it. It's the title of the film. You know, I get its place in the film. I get, you know, the context of the song in the film, why it sounds the way that it does. But I tell you, you know, even from hearing it the first time, it was like, I get it, but it always left me a little flat. So Purple Rain, as far as that version goes, until the Paisley Park remaster, was never my favorite version of Purple Rain. Starting with the live version at Syracuse, that was my favorite version of Purple Rain. Is the live version at Syracuse, which is out now, ladies and gentlemen. Pick it up from your local record store. Um, you know, and every time he's done it live since, I've enjoyed it more. Oh, especially the musicology tour. Oh, it's amazing live versions of Purple Rain with that one too. But yeah, for virtually every time he's performed it live since the Purple Rain tour itself, I've enjoyed those versions more than the album version. But with the Paisley Park remaster, like I said, because it feels more like a live recording, which actually, if they ever do release the First Avenue, the benefit show for the Minneapolis Dance Theater, where Purple Rain, I Would Die for You, and Baby I'm a Star was recorded, and they used those recordings for the Purple Rain album. Yeah, I can't wait till they release that, because if it's remastered the way that the live in Syracuse is remastered, whoo, okay, yeah, I might be changing my tune about Purple Rain. Of course, the Paisley Park remaster has already done that for me already, but as I'm speaking, yeah, I cannot wait for that project to ever see the light of day. Whether they do I don't know. They used to have a deal with Apple TV, and from what I've heard, though nothing's been officially confirmed or denied by the estate or Sony Legacy or Warner Brothers, that the Apple TV deal is off the table. If it is, release it just like this Live at Syracuse that just came out. Give me the 1 or 2 CDs and a Blu-ray to go with it. Whether you do a documentary as originally intended, or just release the live concert in its entirety, or both, you'll have my purple ducats. You will have my purple croutons. So, if anyone from the estate is listening, and I'm sure they are, go ahead and, not right away. I'm sure you guys got your projects lined up, but yeah, somewhere, if you do something later era, go back to the 80s, later era, go back to the 80s, later era, go back to the 80s. One of those 80s releases has to be that. The live benefit at First Avenue. We have to get that. Or put it in a 40th anniversary edition of Purple. In fact, that's the best time to put it out. Make 2024 the Purple Rain year. The 4K release of the film, a super deluxe edition that matches the 1999 and Sign of the Times. Have it match that. Release the live benefit show, the First Avenue birthday show, all of it. Just do that. 2024. If you're listening. And if you use that idea state, then by all means, please send me all of it, and I'll review it on this show. Unbiased, unsolicited. No purple croutons will exchange hands. Just give me physical media. But yeah, so Purple Rain as the song on the album, thanks to this Paisley Park remaster, has basically changed my mind about how I feel about that song. So I love it more on the Paisley Park remaster than anything vinyl CD that I had originally. Which brings to the dislikes, which I don't have many. again, with more range and sound. Again, some of the heavier bass elements I really miss from my years of listening to the original vinyl, which I did touch on earlier. While I do enjoy listening to this remaster, I do prefer the remasters of 1999 and Sign of the Times. I enjoy those. Listening to those have been a completely different experience. In a lot of ways, I think 1999 more so matches my feelings from the original vinyl, just in, I guess, better clarity to my ears. A lot of the nuances really pop out more, but it doesn't distract from it transporting me back to 1982 and 1983. Sign of the Times, that remaster, basically now with the remaster of that one, it's kind of like when I listen to things like Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles or Revolver, where every time I listen to those, I never hear the same thing twice. It feels like I always hear something new decade after decade after decade of listening to those. And Sign of the Times with that remaster has that. I haven't listened to either one of these in a while. But I'm sure when I listen to the Sign of the Times remaster again, there's going to be something I'm going to hear that out of all the years, and let's see, in this case, I started off with the cassette and of course the original CD, which is junk. So I'm glad I live in an age where a remastered Sign of the Times exists. Let's see, I did get a 2015 vinyl, Prince sanctioned vinyl reissue, and I enjoyed listening to that. In fact, I'll probably do a remastered CD versus 2015 vinyl video for that at some point. But again, nothing against Joshua Welton. We can forgive him. I think it was his first time at bat. And maybe to some it wasn't a home run. To some, it was a strikeout, which is regrettable. But for me, it was I give baseball analogy. It was a double or triple. It's pretty much what I feel about it. Which brings me to the overall feeling. I don't think it's as bad as some make it out to be. It's definitely an improvement on the original CD. I personally have always preferred the original vinyl or the 2015 reissue on vinyl over the original CD. Which, I don't know, I might also do a comparison of the Paisley Park remaster with the 2015 vinyl of Purple Rain. But again, I don't think it's as bad as some make it out to be. I enjoy it overall. I don't listen to it and go, oh, this is the worst thing I've ever heard. Oh, he's I love Artificial Age. So his co-production work or production work on that along with Prince. To me, since post-emancipation, Artificial Age is really sort of the album from Prince that I had been wanting for that long period of time. And even, a lot of the tracks on Hit and Run Phase 1. I'm telling you, to me, Hard Rock Lover is a 21st century Prince classic. To me, Hard Rock Lover stands up with anything. His 80s hits, his hits. It stands up to that. Just like Black Sweat from 3121. It stands up to whatever, Kiss or When Doves Cry. It stands up to those. And, you know, it's like we live in this weird age, you know, this 21st century where the streaming has taken over and the way we consume music has changed. But if things never changed from whatever, you know, if we still kind of lived in a world where MTV showed videos all the time, you know, or if records weren't so dependent on computers so much, you know, if American Idol and The Voice and all that stuff didn't exist, you know, I think that a lot of Prince material, certain albums, I really think that they would have had the chance to make it to either the mainstream or get enough exposure to where, again, yeah, they would stand up to, you know, whatever was going on in the 80s. And I'm, you know, love the 80s. You know, those are my teenage and my college years. So yeah, you know, I've got a soft spot for that era. But, you know, I never jumped off the bandwagon. Yeah, there's times that Prince has tested my patience. There's times when, you know, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You know, or it's like, okay, this isn't the album for me. I better wait till the next album. Okay, next album's great. Okay, cool. But I'm still buying the, you know, even though it's the one that I'm not feeling, like I still own a copy of Planet Earth. You know, and we know that that is not my favorite Prince album. You know, but I still own a copy of it because, again, you know, with Prince, it may not be the whole album that you love, but there'll be at least 2 or 3 tracks that you will enjoy. Like, you know, you will have some positive feeling about. And Planet Earth is one of those. There's maybe 2 or 3 songs on it that I do enjoy. But getting back to Joshua Welton, I mean, look, you know, I don't think, you know, Prince never picked weak people. You know what I mean? As, you know, yeah, there's some protege acts that, you know, times, yeah, we might have been able to question his judgment. But, you know, to me, he's had more wins than losses in that regard. And, you know, while whether it's starting with, you know, the kind of hip hop controversy with Diamonds and Pearls and the Symbol album, you know, every artist sort of has their, you know, where they have that sort of 5 or 10 year run where they can just do absolutely no wrong. And then you kind of have some subsequent years, you know, they may want to try something different, you know, maybe, you know, they're a little bored with the style that got them there, or they want to do something different or experiment. Or sometimes the inspiration isn't there. Sometimes, you know, the public, you know, is on to something else. And no matter how great something sounds, that, you know, people just miss the boat and they don't find it till many years later. But, you know, again, I always say, you know, we're grateful to have Prince as an artist. And there's very few, you know, there's, you know, still Stevie Wonder, there's still Paul McCartney, there's still Bob Dylan, there's still Sade, you know, that it's about longevity, and they've managed to stay around, and they always manage to come out with something to where, again, you know, someone's, you know, again, someone's classic period may not be their favorite. And they jump on board, whether it's because they discover it as a kid or they discover it as a teenager, or, you know, the big one for a lot of us, you know, college turns us on to a lot of music that's outside our comfort zone. And for them, because of the memories associated with it, or because that music has influenced a certain emotion or feeling at that moment, it becomes the thing that you cling to, and it's the best feeling ever, and you cling to that. And, that person's era may be the 90s for Prince. That person's era may be the 2000s for Prince. But me, one of those that was sort of there from the beginning, at least Dirty Mind for me anyway, it's been a joy. It's a blessing. And even more so now that he's no longer here to give us brand new stuff, to continue to challenge us. And I guess getting to the point of this dude never really picked weak people, and he was always willing to take a chance, especially as he was getting older. Like, hey, let's give some of these young people a shot, or let me be inspired by them and what they're doing and what they're listening to. And regardless of some of us at a certain age, if it's to somebody's chagrin, yeah, because I struggle with a lot of what is considered today's music. There's some of it I can still embrace. There's still some of it I can still respect. And there's a lot of it to me that's just plain garbage. And that's just a reality. But to me, that's more so the blame of the industry not being the industry that it once was, to where you're seeking out talent and you're nurturing artists for longevity. It's a different thing. But like I said, I think with Prince, that was always trying to not stay relevant. But like I said, with all artists trying to find that balance, how can you continue to do what works? And sometimes when you kind of experiment and maybe you do a Planet Earth album, maybe he thinks that was the greatest album he ever did. And probably at the time, because he just did that one, before he got to 2010, before he got to Artificial Age, who knows? But like I said, in defense of Joshua Welton, I love the Artificial Age album. And with that collaborative spirit, it worked, because to me it was Prince being able to be Prince, but it sounds like Prince today. And I think that was the thing. I loved Musicology. That was close. 3121 was closer to that balance to me. And then to me, kind of struggled to, and that's just my personal opinion. Again, there's a lot of people that love Planet Earth to death, the album. I thought 2010 was kind of a step in that direction of finding that balance. And to me, Artificial Age was where, okay, now he's there. Things like Hit and Run Phase 1 and 2, to me, were kind of hit and misses. But still going in the right direction. It was kind of like, okay, once he kind of gets through that, if he's not doing a Hit and Run Phase 3, if he was still able to be with us, then that next sort of album, actual album where this, all the songs kind of have a link, maybe something, maybe not so much as sound wise like Welcome to America, but in working with Joshua Welton, it would have been amazing to see what they would have come up next. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff in the vault that we have yet to hear that can kind of give us glimpses into that. Hopefully it's a full album or two, but I'm sure we'll have at least a few tracks that'll surface that'll just totally surprise us, that we would have been like, wow, in that. But like I said, Hit and Run Phase 2, I love. Shut This Down. Oh, that track is banging. Like I said, Hard Rock Lover. Let's see, June. Dude, just, the production was, I thought it was good. And like I said, it was a nice balance. It was like, yeah, it's Prince, but yeah, it's still a mature Prince. But it's Prince with the, it's a mature Prince, but with the energy of what he had back when he was in his 20s and giving us the classic material. But with Joshua Welton providing that balance, it sounded fresh. It was fresh Prince. It wasn't Prince, oh, here comes that Lynn drum, there's that Lynn drum. there's that again. Up there's those Oberheims, and there's that. No, that it was fresh. It was fresh. It wasn't Prince treading water. And I give it up to the cat. It's like history put him in that position. And with that being said, with Prince getting his masters back, was this his overall plan to remaster the catalog with Joshua Welton involved? And would Joshua Welton have improved in time if Prince was still alive? I mean, as far as being a remastering engineer. Because really, Prince was looking to keep everything in-house. Remember, he stopped dealing with whatever he had, ASCAP or BMI, and he was trying to find a way, even though it wasn't sound business sense, but he was trying to find a way, how can I collect this money myself? Why do I have to go through this middleman of an ASCAP and a BMI or the international agencies? Is there a way I can be about getting my money now? I think he was trying to go to that level. And again, like I said, sometimes you have that vision, and just like we saw him go through the 90s, it was trial and error. And even in the situations where there was error, there were people after him that benefited from that. Like the one reviewer that pointed out what Frank Ocean was doing with the pop-ups, the pop-up stores. Now, streaming is the norm. The internet is the norm. To where, trying to buy something online back in the 90s was a challenge. The phone, where you didn't have that sort of direct line like you do now. Like you didn't really have an Amazon, not like Amazon as we know it now anyway. You didn't have that kind of outlet to get music to you quick, fast, in a hurry. It was trial and error. So who knows? If Prince was still with us and he had his masters, then, does it beg to differ? Was there a parade that was mastered by Joshua Welton that's in the can and ready to go? Or is this rumored finished parade remaster, was that something that was done after Prince had passed? There's some interesting questions. But I think that, again, evolution is the key. And Purple Rain, that was a big undertaking. I probably would have been like, dude, remaster For You first. And who knows, maybe there's a Joshua Welton For You remaster that's in the vault somewhere. And, it's kind of like, okay, cool. You did your thing on foot. Now, here, let me give you Purple Rain. I think, Prince thought he was ready. Prince felt he was ready. And to trust someone with, despite Prince always being forward thinking, Purple Rain is always his treasure because, that's the thing that, yes, folks, brought him to the mainstream. The absolute mainstream. A lot of you listeners, a lot of Prince fans that are out there, if fans of the 90s, fans of the 21st century, without Purple Rain, you wouldn't have a 90s. You wouldn't have a 21st century. It wouldn't have happened. Nah, he still would have been 1999 in those gears, and it would have been, maybe still half and half of a racial mix in attendance. But if there was no Purple Rain, I'm sorry, dude, would, it would be like, y'all wouldn't know. It would be us. It would be us brothers and sisters like, yeah, okay, cool. Prince gonna be here at such and such stadium. Oh, we there. And it's still gonna sell out. But it won't be because of y'all. Seriously. Seriously, it's Purple Rain and there wouldn't be a future. It's just like anybody. If Stevie didn't, if Stevie was still singing uptight, everything is all right, then he'd be on the old people circuit. But nah, it's that classic period, that has made him the legend that he is. You know, if the Beatles were still singing I Want to Hold Your Hand, they'd be on the oldie circuit for survival. They wouldn't have had millions like they have millions now to have broken up in 1970 and changed the world with the recordings. You know, it just wouldn't have happened. But you know, you gotta give it up though. Give it up for Purple Rain. And like I said, to trust Joshua Welton with, I mean, the arguably the most important album of his career to remaster, that speaks volumes. That's a heavy level of trust to place. And again, just lay off the dude. It's like, it's okay. Music is subjective. Mastering techniques are subjective. What my ears hear. I mean, like I said, it's not easy. Mastering is not an easy thing. And people that claim, oh, we can do your masters we can do them in an hour. Bullshit. It's like, get out of here with that. No, it is not an easy science. Just the little stuff that I have out, me mastering it. No, it's not the greatest thing in the world. But to me, it sounds, for me, if I can get it to at least sound loud enough, like, okay, it needs to sound as loud as 90% of the CDs I have in my collection, then I feel I've done my job with that. Not trying to be a superstar, but, if I can get music to a level to where, like, okay, fine, let me turn this over to a professional to do it, because I got the money to turn it over to a professional and do it, I'll do it. But it's not an easy thing. It's definitely not easy. And like I said, for him to trust Joshua Welton with the most important album of his career speaks definite volumes. And if he didn't think he was, it's Prince. If Prince didn't think you were capable, and I know I get it, there's stories of people that have like, oh, this cat was a janitor, now he's made him manager. Or whatever. I'm just reaching for that one. But kind of the analogy, I get it. He's had those moments. But, I think when it came to his music, to trust him with that, yeah, it's not a bad time for your first time out. And like I said, if, to me, it didn't hit a home run the way the 1999 and Sign of the Times remasters was a home run, it was definitely a triple. I'll give him that. It was definitely a triple. And, maybe over time, if he was allowed to do Parade or whatever the next one would have been, Sign of the Times, who knows? Then I think he would have stolen home, or he would have hit it out of the park. But to me, this is this wasn't a bad job. But what do you guys out there think? Did you like the Paisley Park remaster? Were you one of those kind of haters out there that was like, Bernie Grundman shouldn't have done it and whatever? But, or do you think that given time, or if Prince was still with us, would he have entrusted the entire catalog to Joshua to remaster? That would have been interesting. It would have been a whole collection. The Paisley Park remaster. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to visit an alternate universe and see how that would have panned out. But leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. That is going to end this edition of Amari Purple Talk. Tune in to the next episode, as I will be in celebration of Prince's birthday on June 7th. It would have been nice to have a co-host, but man, I feel like I'm in the multiverse of madness. Keyword madness. Because it's just too much stuff changing. My non-essential, there's too many changes. Schedule changes. I'm always tired. I don't feel like I got time for stuff. Trying to do stuff that would basically get me away from that non-essential. And I can be free, feel like putting slave on my face until I am free, feel like changing it to an unpronounceable symbol myself until I am free of these sort of corporate shackles, ready to do my own. Fellas, ready to get to do my thing. I want to get into it, man. So, figured out a plan to kind of try to get more and more Amari Purple Talk content out to you guys. Trying to get some projects finished and out, my sort of phase 1. Trying to get all of that out before this year closes and move it on to phase 2. And of course, with you guys downloading the content of the Amari Purple Talk podcast and, checking out my sounds on Bandcamp, please donate, just even if it's as little as $1, just donate. That helps me bring more content, helps me buy the time that I need to say, you know what, screw this not essential for the day or a couple of days or a week and get more content. Other projects, I'm a comic book myth builder as well and trying to get my own universe out there, because we need to see more representation out there, for the superhero set. So all of that, the Amari Purple Talk t-shirts, the We Funk t-shirts, buying those help as well. Check out Amari Communications website, which is amaricommunications.com. Check it out. That keeps, you up to date on everything that I'm doing. And I appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. And I know when I don't do an episode, people are like, hey, where you at? What you doing? And it's like, okay, I'm coming. It's just, like I said, schedule's all crazy, shorthanded, staffing issues, global supply chain shortages. We're working 3 times as hard and people above us acting like ain't nothing wrong. Man, it's a joke. This world has gotten crazier. That being said, everybody hold on. Like Prince would say, hold on to your soul. We got a long way to go. And the way to kind of sidestep this adversity, overcome this adversity, stay positive, stay spiritually centered, take your vitamins, live as holistically as you can out there. Don't give in to this entropy, don't give in to all this hate out there. We got to change this. There's too much crazy stuff still happening. And it's getting crazier just because of this crazy thing we've been on for the last few years. But like I said, again, stay centered, create your day, create your life. Again, thank you very much for tuning in every time I post something up, whether it's the podcast or video. Like I say, thanks to the people that have been checking out my sounds. I can't even really call it music. It's just electronic noise, and I'm having fun making that noise. But yeah, by all means, support all of it as much as you can. I know there's folks, you had to spend big ducats on these releases and most of your celebration and stuff like that. So I ain't trying to crowd your wallet too much. But when you get around to it, by all means, help me stay on the air. Help me bring you more stuff, because it's going to be on. Amari Communications is going to be on. Amari Communications will be in control. So again, thank you all. And like I said, tune in the next episode. That's going to be live too. So check it out. Like I said, wish I had a co-host, but like I said, I'm working on trying to have that as a permanent thing at some point, sooner rather than later. But it'll be me solo for this next episode and maybe the episode after that. But after that, like I said, we'll start contacting some folks and getting them on the mic. So till then, again, create your day, create your life. See you next time. Peace. Purple party people now. Time to get on the one. Keep it on the one. So we're all the purple party people now.